You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 422 of East Central's favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrill here, joined by executive video producer, audio engineer, and coach to many, Mr. Zach Burcham.
Good evening.
We have in the co-host chair tonight. We couldn't find our bones, so we got our Bash, Mr. Bash Crider. Welcome back.
Thank you.
In the co-host chair today. You can find him during the day down at Hayes, Crider, Copenhagen, Hardin.
Not in that order.
Crider, and Crider.
Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, I mean, you got all
Rolls
the names.
right off
Yeah.
the tongue.
I don't know.
In the law office.
I wrote them down the best. Yeah, they handle all your legal needs, particularly the estate
and
planning.
wants.
And wants. I want to not need you. Our special guest today is Libertarian Secretary of State candidate Lauri Shillings with an S.
Thank you for having me.
From Hamilton County, Indiana. We're going to get into a nice long discussion about her race for Secretary of State in Indiana, why it's important, what differentiates her from some of the other candidates that are expected to be on the ballot next fall. Her race will not be in a primary. All of the Secretary of State races are chosen at a statewide convention next spring and or summer, depending upon the party. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about some small business matters that office looks over. Bash is very involved with our downtown area here, and we've got a big, massive historic downtown building that is in danger, looking for a new future. We're going to talk about that. And a story we covered last year after the North Carolina hurricanes. A guy named Greg Biffle did a great job with the humanitarian efforts. NASCAR driver. He was tragically lost in a plane crash today. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But we're going to keep it fun before then. The show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you. Other times we'll make you laugh. But hopefully you'll always learn something new. Just did about 15 minutes over on the Patreon. That's the exclusive area that the folks that make this show get on the air each and every week get access to. They get the show notes dropped into a Facebook group. You get added to a Facebook group, and the high-quality audio gets emailed directly to you the night of the show for the Patreon, and all kinds of fun stuff.
And where can they find that Patreon?
BossHogLiberty.com. Click on the little Patreon button or patreon.com/BossHogLiberty. Either or. Folks that are in that for $50 or more a month get a special shout out at the beginning of each and every episode. That's Jonathan Phillips over at Great Lakes Honda in Fishers. Blake Reese at Varsity Outfitters. He did the t-shirt I'm wearing tonight. So great job over there from Blake and the Varsity Outfitters guys. Tommy Oakes at Walnut Ridge RV. Listen, if you're looking for the perfect Christmas gift, it's a fifth wheel camper. That's what you do. Go down, get a Brinkley, and say, hey, look, it only costs $700 this month, and then 10 more years of that, got it paid.
Do you
for.
visit your brother-in-law Clark with them?
No, listen, these are premium campers.
Family vacation.
Premium RVs.
Okay.
And then you can check out Pop's Recycle down in Rushville for your vintage Schwinn's. And Moral Monument Cleaning, Joyce down there in Rush County can she'll travel East Central Indiana and take care of your family stones. So you got somebody wanting to remember or take care of, they'll do a spring cleaning for you. Business is out of the way. Welcome, Lauri. Thanks for making the drive.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So Greg Kuntz is here. He says he was just going to mention Greg. Greg's not here. We have Bash.
No, I think he means Greg Biffle.
Oh, Greg Biffle. Yeah, that'll be at the end.
Oh,
that'll be at the end.
My dad is Greg Crider. You can go find him at Hayes, Copenhagen, Crider, Harvey.
Crider.
Crider,
And
Harvey,
Crider.
Crider, Hayes.
Tell us about your involvement with Libertarian Party. You ran for Congress once.
I did.
You're the state or the county chairperson. I'm not going to promote you. You're the county chairperson, Hamilton County.
Yep.
Where everybody just turns left all the time without.
There's a lot of roundabouts there. There is. There's a benefit to them. It's safety.
Yeah, we're all for safety.
Yep.
So tell us about yourself. A little introduction.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from the western half of Indiana, Montgomery County, born and raised there. So Hoosier from birth, pretty much. Moved to Hamilton County 10 years ago. Been there ever since. Got actively involved in the Libertarian Party in 2018. But I was always an independent voter. Kind of tried to pick the right person for the job, somebody who I felt was the most ethical, and it became harder and harder to do that. And then Gary Johnson, I saw his campaign, and it really kind of swung me into the Libertarian camp very firmly. And then, honestly, I'll be brutally honest. I started dating a guy named Danny Lundy, who was on your show in 2019. And our second date was a wake for Bill Bean.
Yep.
So he was like, we're just going to throw you into the fire right away and see how resilient you are. And well, apparently I withstood the fire, and here we are. And I've been active ever since. And he was like, yeah, I don't know if you want to be involved in the Libertarian Party here. And I'm like, wait a minute. Are you sure you want me involved is the first question. Because usually once I dedicate myself to something, it's all in or nothing. And so I quickly found that there was a need for leadership and a need for people to be active and to do the work. As most libertarians in Indiana know, if you've got an affiliate, there's nothing but work that needs doing. So you sit down and you find a way to.
You've got countless events, countless opportunities, always trying to find money, always trying to find candidates, always trying to give the perspective and connect with people, right?
Right. All that.
Very good. So Lauri for Liberty is the website.
Yep.
If folks want to learn about the platform, Bash, you got to look it up and peruse around a little bit.
I did. I read through it.
Some real middle of the road issues like wanting reasonable elections, maybe have the office there. What kind of vehicle do you think you should have if you have the Secretary of State? I
think it should be economical and certainly not purchased from a campaign donor. That's what I think. A $90,000 luxury vehicle, I think is a bit excessive. Even if you have 5 bodyguards that have to go with you, I think that, you should be able to stand up for yourself. I drive a Malibu and it gets like 30 miles a gallon, and I've had it for years, and it gets everywhere I need to go across the state of Indiana.
Very good. So tell us how long you've been in this race, and maybe some places you've been, some events you've been to, how this process goes.
Okay. I announced at our last state convention in March and said I would be willing to step up to the plate to be the Secretary of State candidate. There's not a whole lot of people chomping at the bit to run at this race. It's not very sexy. It's not one of those things where you're up in the middle of media all the time. In fact, a lot of people don't even know who our Secretary of State is currently. Like 60% of the people polled had no idea who it was.
That's why he has the koozies and the maps at the state fair.
People got to know his name
on them.
Yeah, it's more of a campaign thing instead of an office thing, isn't it? Yeah. It's a bit tender in my mind about what you should be doing with those office funds. But yeah, I've been doing that since last March campaigning. We've been at a couple different events across the state. We've been to some tabling events, held some fundraising, and done pretty successful with that. And then up and coming, of course, this coming March, we will also be right there in the thick of things to get the nomination from the state to be the actual candidate. Right now, we're seeking the candidacy.
Seeking the candidacy. This is an important race for the Libertarian Party because this determines ballot access.
It does.
So you have to have at least 2% of the total turnout, the gross turnout of folks. If they vote Libertarian, then Libertarians are on the ballot for every office,
right?
Only needing a county or a state chairman's signature to be able to get on the ballot.
They've got to be affirmed by their county affiliate and/or at the state convention. They can apply there if their county isn't affiliated. Yep. But absolutely, it gives us guaranteed access to the ballot without having to gather signatures. And I certainly hope that I'm a strong enough candidate to accomplish that goal and more.
So they've maintained it since 1994 continuously. Yep. Mm-hmm. And this show's been around long enough that you're the third cycle of candidate we've had. Mark Rutherford was with us.
Mark too.
Yep. And then Jeff Maurer was here 4 years ago.
Something about Hamilton County.
Yeah.
Weird producing those Secretary of State candidates.
These high quality SOS candidates.
Let's hope so.
Mike Cole might have been a Hamilton County guy too back in the day.
He's close to it.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about like the top end issues, the things that you're really looking out for and wanting to make sure that people are aware of as they It's a low information race, but it's going to be the highest. When somebody gets a ballot next year, there's no governor's race, there's no presidential race, there's no
It is the top of the
Senate.
ticket
It's
for
the top of the
2026.
ticket for every race.
Yep. And the reason it's going to be there, and the reason I'm so passionate about it is, I see a lot of disservice happening in the current Secretary of State's office. There's a lot of self-aggrandizement, doing things for their own benefit rather than for the benefit of the people. I come from a family background of service. Like, my dad spent 50 years being either a police officer or a fire chief in Coal Creek Township in Montgomery County. Both of my parents were first responders for many, many years. And it just kind of gave me this shining example of what service really should look like in your communities. And I see that. And then I kind of hold up this tarnished example of what's happening at the state. And I'm like, these two things are not the same. And so I want to bring that energy to this race specifically. And I am not here to make this a stepping stone to a higher race. Like, I would say many candidates currently, the legacy candidate currently in the Democratic camp, Mr. Bai, I would expect him to say, okay, this is my first step into something else.
A lot of people pointed him and say, hey, his dad was elected Secretary of State in 1988 or 86.
Spent 2 years in that office,
Spent 2 years
instead
in
of 4.
office and became the governor, right?
Yeah.
Which then led to the regime of Joe Hogsett as Secretary of State of Indiana.
Right.
Who's now the mayor of Indianapolis.
Right. Some of the things I really want to cover, I think, business services, every single person I've talked to in tabling events over this past summer has been everything about that business website is frustrating. To try to do your paperwork, to try to filter your way through it. And is there timely reminders that come from that office to say, hey, it's time for you to redo this thing? Not very often. It's usually a little bit late or not existing at all. And if you have a problem, you can't just self-correct. You physically have to call or go to the office to get it taken care of.
So that's new to me. This year we purchased this building, right? So we created an LLC for the podcast and the holding company for the building, which means that we have to now make filings with the Secretary of State's office. And, you fill out the paperwork when you say, okay, now we're good. And then it looks like it was somewhat unclear. It didn't look like it was annual. Maybe it was every 2 or 3 years you have to make some filings.
Every 2 years, you're supposed to put it's a biannual report that you have to do. It's like, yes, I still own it. I'm still the de facto person on the building or the business, and just kind of go through those steps.
Continue your activity.
Yep.
But you don't necessarily know that you're going to get that feedback or that hand-holding from the Secretary of State's office right now.
It seems uncertain. Well, and it's such an important step for businesses. You go through it thinking, man, I have to do this legally to do what I want to do. Have I done it correctly? You don't even know that you've done it correctly until after they're like, okay, great, here's your numbers or whatever they send you a few days later. Same thing with political filings. Like, if you make a mistake on your political filing, you can't go fix that. You have to be like, hey, I made a mistake. What do I do now?
You have to amend the form and send it in and hope you don't get yourself fined.
And you can't do it immediately. You have to wait a few days because it's got to register in their database first. So you're like, I can't wait a few days. I'm supposed to have a fundraiser. I really want to get started, do whatever. So it's frustrating. It's a little confusing. And I'd like to see that modernized. Is one of the big things I want to do.
So there are a few tentpole issues, I guess, with the Secretary of State's race or the Secretary of State's office. There's the business oversight that you have, and then there's it's been in the news lately a lot on the election side, right?
Yep.
Well, you're the chief election officer.
Chief election officer is a big title, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though the county clerks kind of run every individual thing.
That's right. And they should be responsible for that and know best how to serve their communities. I mean, the state nor the federal government has any business saying what they should do with that. The state should be there to support and make sure that they have the technology and training that they need to perform those duties in the best way possible.
Bash, did you see the current Secretary of State was a big proponent of the redistricting push that was happening a couple weeks ago?
I didn't know that, but I don't like that.
Oh, no. He had a rally.
He was at the rally with Lieutenant Governor and the governor and trying to, dozens of people were at the State House saying that, hey, this is the will of the people. Where did you come down on that issue? Absolutely
against redistricting. It's unnecessary and an undue burden at taxpayers to pay for that effort. And then,
mid-year, right?
Mid-year, right.
Yeah,
it's constitutionally regulated to be every 10 years, the year after the census. And, in the nation, Indiana was ranked one of the top 10% of fair districting after this last map that came out. They're like, well, it seems to be well done. It's not very well gerrymandered. It's grouped of like people, represents, the basis of the voters democratically or Republican-y, I guess we should say. And so
communities of interest are served, though, right?
Yeah.
Like generally speaking, it was an Eastern Indiana district. It was a Southern Indiana
Right.
district.
They were
It was
grouped
Northwest
together.
Indiana.
That representative would represent those people that were more likely to be about the same in their voting preferences and their demographic. So it was pretty much well-rounded. And this last push was simply a power grab from a national entity saying, hey, I want this just to get more power. And I'm so glad that even, unfortunately, the House said, let's just go ahead and do that. But the senators who said, no, my voters have spoken and said, we don't want this. And they represented the will of the people rather than the will of somebody in D.C.
So, yeah, this is a story we covered on the show significantly. And I don't think the vote had happened when we had our last show. We had a show on Wednesday, and I think the vote happened on Thursday of last week. So it did fail by about six votes. It was like
The
19,
majority said no.
31 to 19 or something.
31
to
in
19.
the Senate. 21 Republicans said no, 19 Republicans said yes, somewhere in that range. And then 10 Democrats. So there were still a majority of Republicans who were against it.
Overwhelmingly told the current administration, no, we don't want that in our state.
And some of them dealing with like pipe bomb threats and swatting and like all kinds of, they were dealing with some like real serious threats, like to their families and homes as a result of that whole push.
So you view that this is the state's responsibility versus the feds pushing back.
Agreed. And it is, it's constitutionally says that we're protected in that right too. The federal government really has no business telling us how to run that election. They're there to supply support, maybe cybersecurity, and help finance those needs. But they have no way to say you will run your election in this way. That is the state and the local counties' right to do so.
There were a bunch of reports through the last couple of weeks from Secretary of State Morales talking about illegal voters that they found and folks that were on the voting rolls. Have you had a chance to look into their results and any views on the security of elections that we've been having or going forward?
I feel that our elections are incredibly secure. We're decentralized currently, so it's nice to have that. That's the fastest way to say this is the best way to run our elections. Decentralization is the most secure way to do that. The few that
92 individual county clerks and election boards.
Right. And they will say, this is the machines we'll use, this is the methodology that we will use, and then they're responsible for counting those votes. And that way it's in that community, they know best how to serve their community, right? As far as like, what was it? A total of 27 individuals that they found that might have been, those were from that voter roll that he had sent many months ago to the federal government to say, hey, do any of these meet the criteria according to you that might not be legal citizens? They did find one individual in Southern Indiana who had voted multiple times as an illegal citizen. But the others could have been, hey, we've become naturalized since that notice. We don't know. None of that was reported afterwards. Like how many of those people were actually still illegal immigrants, had not attained citizen status, and were unable to vote. So even that percentage of people that he had said, that is never going to sway any vote in the state of Indiana.
27 voters?
Individuals.
In Indiana?
In the entire state of millions and millions of people.
In one election cycle or over a few cycles?
Over the period of time. So we don't even know what time frame that they might have been.
Wild and unmitigated success.
Less than 1%. Right? And a lot of taxpayer money went to go make sure that was taken care of. So kudos to wasting money for our friend Mr. D.
Just going to look up how many votes were cast in the 20.
I'm really curious to see what the dollar per illegal voter count was. Yeah, it was in the 20s.
Yeah, it was not over 30.
Someone to mistake that for being bad.
I mean
that's.
Let's be fair.
It just takes one, Bash. It just
27 out of millions?
Minimal amount of effect. However, I will say...
It's like jumping up and down and high-fiving each other.
Right.
If
it's...
Do you have that success rate at anything that you've ever done?
I don't know.
Does anyone?
I would still say our elections are secure and a great success by the metrics and the percentages that are there.
That's wonderful.
In the 2024 presidential election, there were 2,924,790 votes cast.
And 27
and potentially 27 of those may have been illegal.
Right. So even at local level, and those are not all clustered in one area. So even at a local level, let's say there's one in every county. That's not every county in the state.
One in every 4 counties, right? Maybe.
if there's an election that's that close in Indiana, they would have had a recount anyway. So I doubt.
And then you probably audit the ballot at that point, right?
Right. And, I will say that there has been more auditing. They used to only audit like 3 counties, and they haven't proved that in the last several years. So they do like 10 now or something like that. But they never released the results of that audit other than, passed audit. They don't say what they found, anything like that. So I'd like to see more auditing happen to make sure that all of our elections are certified at every county.
So tell me about your background a little bit as far as seeking this specific office. What are your professional credentials, your history? We talked about the political history, right, being a county chairperson and having a previous run for congressional office against Representative Sparks.
Mm-hmm.
What have you been doing professionally?
So I've been in the marketing, I would say, realm for my entire life. I was in the newspaper industry right out of my first stint in college, let's say. I mean, like most people, not everything works out the first time you go. And so I spent 15 years in the newspaper industry in creative service management. And then over time, I've had my own business, freelance, running my own marketing, graphic design, digital work, website design, and then went back to college and received my web design degree at Ivy Tech. And then when I was hired on at Ivy Tech, one more time, UIndy, I'm their creative director now for their marketing team for the entire university. So I've been there for 8 years. And I did receive my community and nonprofit leadership degree from there. I have a bachelor's, very proud of that. A lot of hard work went into that. And it kind of gives me a little bit of a background in how to look at public and the patterns of behavior and how those individuals are best able to function in a way. So you wouldn't tell people how to live their lives, but you might guide them in a way. They'd be like, would this be a better option for you to improve your life, to go help in nonprofit sector? And I do a lot of freelance work in the nonprofit sector. I was the creative director for Don Rainwater's first campaign. I helped a little bit.
Very successful campaign for governor in 2020.
Yeah, I had the highest vote total percentage of any libertarian governor in history.
By far, yeah.
Almost 12% of the Indiana vote.
He finished second here in Henry County.
Right. So, and he did second in several counties in the state. And then
about a third of the counties.
I know. It was a beautiful run, and it was a perfect time for him to take advantage of that. And so in that kind of work, I understand the inner machinations of marketing, what needs to be done with that. And then I was also the creative lead for Chase Oliver's campaign. I did all of his graphic design work too for his presidential
race in 2024.
Right. So, I mean, that's a lot of what I do. And then just, again, working closely with a lot of libertarian candidates here in the state. I do a lot of pro bono work for them.
So if folks want to get involved with the party, you have to get nominated at a convention.
Yep.
If somebody says, hey, I like what I hear. I don't necessarily want to sign up for another buy. I don't want this Diego Morales guy continuing to be the voice of business in Indiana. How do they get involved? How do they come support you at convention?
Well, if you are not a current member, you need to go to lpin.org and purchase a membership. And that's how you can become a delegate for your county. You can represent your county. If you do not have an affiliated county, reach out to the state and they will find you someone who can mentor you or guide you to someone who can help you with that. But at the state convention, delegates who are chosen from each county then would come and say, yes, Lauri, you are our best candidate. I think you would do an exceptional job. We'd like you to represent us on the ballot in November. And so that's how they can support me, is go there and be a delegate.
And you're supposed to ask for money now, too.
I would ask for money. Donations links are open at lauriforliberty.com. I'm happy to have anyone visit there. There's a big donate link at the top of the page.
And during Patreon, you brought some bourbon. You had a big bourbon sampling event as a fundraiser.
Yeah.
There's another one of those coming up down the line.
Yes.
So folks can follow you and maybe get the details on that.
Yeah, after the state nomination. And it was very successful. And these were all local bourbons that we had or nearby bourbons and affordable. So you can go into any store and be able to purchase what I had there. I wanted people to be able to taste something because if you're like me, I don't want to buy an expensive bottle and then hate it. So I love to have a little taste of that, to understand that it's good, and then make an investment as needed.
Very good. Bash, you've been a small business guy longer than I have. Any interactions with the state or things that you've noticed or want clarification on that you got one of these candidates here in front of you?
Right. Primarily just in creating entities, though I usually
I'm the one typing the bylaws.
Right.
My paralegal's the one who interacts with the website. I know that it frustrates her from time to time.
I'd love to see that modernized. And then people talk about how much they hate AI chatbots, but if you could solve a problem with an AI chatbot and not use man hours and have it done that day rather than wait several days to have an answer, I'd much rather see that, like an investment in that. Because it is literally just an answering program that's like, how could I fix this thing? Well, here's what you can do. And that way people feel more assured about how they progress through the site, the steps that they have to take, make them feel more assured that they're doing the right thing.
Right. I will say that in discussing entity creation with people who did not go through me, who created their own entities, I've encountered a lot of frustration about I couldn't tell what I was supposed to do.
Right.
I didn't even feel like I was guided towards an attorney.
Right.
It didn't even occur to me that there is someone who could have helped me.
Right. There are partners available that they guide them to.
I was running into the wall. Yeah.
Right.
So.
And they'll walk you through that. There may be a fee associated. I have not really used that service myself, but they do recommend partners in that process at inbiz.org. You can go there. If you go to the Secretary of State's website, it's like a multi-step process to get to this too, which is also a little frustrating. So you go to Secretary of State's website, I think you'll handle it all there, but no, there's another website that you have to go to. And then once you click that, there's another website you have to go to. I think it should be a little more fluid for user experience, especially. And then, as you had said, there's an attorney available to talk to if you do have questions or need guidance. But it is, again, another place that you have to go and you have to find that resource. It's not readily available.
And then the last question I have is around the BMV and the oversight that I guess that you have over auto dealers.
Right.
Obviously, auto dealers took a big interest in the current candidate because they donated a significant amount of money to his campaign.
Well, and he hired his brother-in-law to run that department for 6 figures.
Tell me about how that relationship's supposed to work.
Okay. Basically, the office just has oversight to that. Make sure that people who purchase cars are being treated fairly, and that those auto dealers, if you want to sell a car in Indiana, more than just a personal sale, you have multiple for sale, you have to register your business with the Secretary of State. And that's basically just another business entity that they care for. They just put it in a separate category for auto licensing to make sure that they're ran effectively and that they are doing good business in Indiana. So
auto dealers are a special bucket inside the SOS office.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Bash, I wanted to ask you some questions. We covered a story at some point this summer that you'll enjoy this, Lauri. We had a YMCA downtown, and it closed probably 20 some years ago when we were all high school or young college age kids. Built a new YMCA across town. That YMCA was repurposed and it was sold to the Henry Township Trustee's office, and it served as our trustee's office for a decade or so, maybe 2. And it has the historic Church Street Gym, which is where Newcastle played basketball before the largest and finest field house is built in the 1950s. So it's a historic facility, massive building. I don't know the square footage, but it's in the tens of thousands of square footage. And the trustee, the new township trustee here said, too much money for us. We want to unload it. So they put a for sale sign out, and the building has been advertised. I don't know, did it sell or did it end up with the Landmark Group? There's some confusion about this because I don't know that there's been an official story.
Sure. There was a newspaper article that may have come out a little bit early. Just these things are so complex, not by anyone's mistake necessarily, but just because there are so many boxes to check and so many things to do. The trustee had to get rid of it. They got a new building. He has goals that building wasn't allowing him to meet.
They were trying to run a homeless shelter out of there at some point during COVID or just post-COVID.
Yep.
Which was spilling over onto downtown streets, and it didn't go well.
It did not go well. And now they have an old church over on, I think, 23rd Street.
Somewhere on the east side of Newcastle.
Yep. And he's feeding a lot of people there. And it sounds like it's a lot closer to what he was needing.
What their mission is.
Right. But it does mean that there is as you said, an absolutely enormous historic gymnasium, historic building. It costs $40,000 to $50,000 a year just to keep it, heated and electrified. So he has to get rid of it, somewhat by any means. As a downtown person, the idea that this building may disappear, may get bulldozed, may end up languishing in any number of ways.
Moving into disrepair gives you a cringe. You can see it. You can see it on your face.
Like my chest is tight just talking about it, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. I'm not going to list all of the names because there are enough people involved that if I start listing names, I will inevitably fail. But as this project continues, soon enough we'll be able to create a more complete public face and better reports about it. But what we've done is we've met with Indiana Landmarks, and created a system where Indiana Landmarks can receive the building from the trustee and then pass it on to a local charity. And from there, it gets held for the amount of time while our local groups are able to raise the money and attract a developer who can actually do the revitalization, the adaptive reuse project.
It's the kind of building that needs millions of dollars in rehab. Could be apartments, could be a hotel. There's a lot of possibilities, but it needs somebody that has a real capital campaign to do something with it.
Our working estimate is 10 million. Yeah.
Wow.
It could be 11, which is obviously magnanimous. It's so I've been spending a lot of time educating myself on how you even tackle things like this. I have 2 projects where I'm installing apartments in the upstairs of some of these downtown buildings, and that's kind of opened the door to learning about historical rehabilitation tax.
You're interested in the success of downtown.
Very concerned about that.
Danny Lundy says he heard I bought it. No, that was a much smaller, different building at the other side of downtown. Different tax bracket for that business. I travel a lot for work, and I know that there's a Salvation Army building in Pittsburgh that I'm in a lot. Similar, it's probably a 15-story tall building, maybe a little smaller footprint, but probably similar square foot. And it turned into a hotel, right? Like that's the kind of thing that theoretically could happen.
Yes.
But you have to find somebody that's willing to develop it.
So the way that these projects work, is when you have that kind of money going into one of these rehabilitation projects, for a lot of reasons that if somebody is very curious about this, and especially if they want to donate to the cause, call me and I'll go through all the details with you. But
at Hayes, Crider, Copenhagen, Crider, and Crider, Harvey.
Crider.
Write them down, all those names, and then Google it. But essentially what has to happen for projects like this, it's way too ambitious, way too expensive, and there's way too many moving parts for it to be a public sector project. And because of the cost involved, it is never financially intelligent for the private sector. Right. So you have to have this team up.
How do you handle that with zoning? Do you have zoning issues with that currently?
Fortunately, we don't.
It's commercial right now, I would assume.
Yeah, it's our entire historic district it's not just commercial. I'm sorry, I don't know it, but it's a particular kind that allows for mixed use, right. Which is why you can put apartments upstairs and a business downstairs, and you don't have to get a variance or rezone or anything.
I asked because I just spent several quality hours at the land use committee in Carmel in regards to my neighborhood. They wanted to add that to their comprehensive plan, and in doing so would eradicate my neighborhood.
Y'all trying to get a Wawa?
No, it would not. It would be high density housing, because $1 million buildings are much more property.
They bring more tax dollars in
than my $300,000.
You'll 5/1s.
Yep, I'll do it.
But they gave me some verbal confirmation that they would remove that section from the comprehensive plan. So we'll be following up with them. I did bring my state chair with me to that meeting, and he made a statement at that time too. So
keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I will.
So the zoning, fortunately, shouldn't be an issue, though there are a lot of other things involved. And the big one is raising that kind of capital. The way that these kind of projects work is generally the community involvement is around 25 to 40% of the cost. And that's a mix of qualifying for rehabilitation, historic rehabilitation and adaptive reuse tax credits, ready money, various grants and programs through the RDCs, the EDC, and things like that.
Essentially trying to bring tax dollars home that you've sent to the state.
I'm going to say the dirty libertarian word. Is it currently in a TIF district?
It is in a TIF district.
Then they couldn't apply a lot of different funds from that if they have it available.
Yes. So
that would be a good use for those funds.
Right. The timing is a little bit difficult because we have a couple of different groups in Newcastle right now doing huge capital projects. The old expo, the new YMCA, the actual YMCA is starting one of these, and there are some others. So it's an uphill battle. I mean, this is a labor of need. I mean, we're doing this because this is what is required to protect this building, not because this is a convenient time, not because there's extra cash anywhere, But fortunately, what we have to do right now is create the nonprofit.
Government gets bigger, man. Why don't we just move county government into there too? Just let them it's like a
just let them take over.
It's like a hermit crab. They will grow into it. If you give them the space, they'll just grow right in.
Well, and that's another headwind that you face in projects like this is because of the capital stack required, and because of the larger the project. In other words, the worse off the building is, the easier it is to attract those funds. So these developers, the ones who are actually able to do this and the ones who are willing to take out a $6 million of mortgage, they need the building donated. And they need the building to be a husk. So there are a lot of things that we could do to try to why don't we just get it and change out the windows and then it's worth a little. No. If you start to improve it, then you are reducing the amount of money.
The improvement quality loans that they can get for that.
Exactly.
Yeah, to do what they want. Because if they start with the husk, then they can go in, it's clean. There's no entanglements with the current tenants. They can go improve the infrastructure, the electric, water, sewer, whatever they want to do with that. And then they can say, okay, now what do we do with this space?
Right.
I could see if it's a big YMCA with a gym, I'm assuming.
It has a gym, has an ancient swimming pool.
What an amazing event space, or a distillery, mixed use housing could be interesting there too.
You've got classrooms, you could have daycares. There's an endless number of opportunities of things that could be done in there.
Has the gym been denoted historically as a historical property?
So we had a project that had paused, and we just recently reignited it to get onto the National Historical Register. It is currently in our local historical district, but not on the National Register.
Okay. I've learned a lot of national people like to put plaques on stuff, and that makes it official lately. Like this week, they've been all about the plaque. So if you guys go put a plaque on there, you're set.
The building part is interesting, but it's like if anybody's been in it, it was our local YMCA when I was a kid, and it's just like a lot. It actually would be pretty sweet as apartments and stuff. It's kind of a big old building. It had a front desk. There was a preschool and stuff in there. The pool was fascinating. I don't know. Have you been down to the pool lately?
Yeah.
Was there details that you did not recall as a child from that pool?
I actually recall those details.
I did not recall the details.
So they're still there.
They look somewhat German.
So this building was built in.
Was there tile work?
It was built pre
Nazi Germany. So there's swastikas in the tile, like everywhere in the tile. But the building,
just a repeated key pattern. That's not necessary.
I know, but you don't. When you go down there as like an adult, and you think, oh, this is where I just ran around as a kid. It's like the theme of the pool is but the pool, it dang near, it's in the tile. It's in the tile everywhere.
It's in all of Greek.
Very Volkswagen down there.
But this building was built it was built in 1924. But you'd think that the pool would have been updated at some point since then.
That's
a
to
little bit
replace
of a
tile.
mystery.
Nobody's been in the pool since 2003.
Yeah,
that's true.
But that was my pool.
My second job was janitor over there, and this is
it's probably still light bulbs
aside.
you changed.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. We actually, as I recall, we were clearing some of the things out. One random memory of that, at one point my boss was going on vacation. So the night before he left, he showed me how to lock everything up. And then we finish up. And as we're locking the door, the main door, he says to me, you think you got this? You think you can handle it? I was like,
it's like lock the door.
Turn out the lights, lock the doors. And he was like, no, I mean, like, you know about all the people that died in here, right?
Oh, he's like trying to scare you.
So he ran me through the whole list of everyone who'd ever died in that building.
Is there like
every
a
weird experience?
Is it like a ghost hunter thing? Like people come and observe?
I think there was a fatality in the
phenomenon
pool at some point. There.
It was kind of a nasty tragedy.
The rest of this show is going to be full of tragedy and sadness. So if you're for happy puppy dogs, good night.
Beyond that part. Close your eyes, chat. Close your eyes.
We won't go through all of his ghost stories about the old wife, but but the fact that
but it's worth saving.
Yeah, it is very.
It's a cool building on the outside, and the last trustee had to bring it up to code in certain ways. So like one of the racquetball courts got taken out because they had to put a fire staircase in there.
Right.
So that's good or bad, but like that part's at least like up to code. And I think she did a pretty good job of trying to maintain it, at least keep it up. The gym, she fixed up the front of the gym because the gym you couldn't get into from the street, and now you can get into it from the street. And there's nice doors, and you can see where the ticket office used to be, and so it looks more like what it would have looked like when it was in use back then. But
you say trustee? Is it like the town trustee, or like somebody who takes care of the building?
No, the township. So the township trustee's office used to be on 3, and then the last township trustee, Nancy Webb, she bought the building and moved in when the Y moved out.
All right.
So she's did some work to it, and then that was her
as a
office.
personal project. Not
it was the township trustee's office.
Oh, so the city paid for it.
The township
did.
Okay,
yeah.
Right.
She was.
Thanks for the clarity.
And then when she retired, left office, the new township trustee moved in there, tried to run the homeless shelter out of there.
Oh, that's when
Mr. Crider's being very generous. He was also trying to do it without asking for any other government approval to do what he was doing in the building, like serving food and having people stay overnight, and didn't contact his insurance provider at the time and
that's
say
a troublesome thing.
And so that turned into a thing. So he's moved into a different area.
It's a very large 4-story building that we're looking at the old.
We're like 2 blocks from here.
Over to you. It's just across town. 45,000 square foot building.
Yeah.
It's
currently the gym gets used.
Oh wow.
On a fairly regular basis.
Oh yeah, that should be able to.
Indiana Legends is playing
modernized enough.
Well, speaking of the gym,
the new Libertarian Party headquarters right there.
You bring them on in.
Just get a donor.
It is. It speaks to our youth also that what remains of it.
Our youth.
That we've been talking so much about the YMCA building because the Church Street Gym is such a landmark here in town. Our original high school gym was over in the Sears building. It was the second floor of the Sears building. And then it went from there to the Church Street Gym. And then in the Gym Now movement, the field house was built, and this Friday, tomorrow, is the 1,000th game played at our field house.
Yeah, the new field house was built in the 50s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
And actually, so this year is the 100th anniversary of the Church Street Gym. Next year is the 100th anniversary of the actual grand opening of it. So 100 years ago, now it was, kicking off, and then next year is like its true birthday.
Wow.
So it is kind of poetic in that regard, even though it's like I said, the timing. If we could be doing this project any time but now. But anyway, so to rein it all in, what the current goal is we've created a nonprofit.
We're looking for a firm commitment for the Secretary of State's office to move to Newcastle. I think that's where we
have a building for you.
Yeah,
that would not be at my direction. I just would work there. I'd like to do a darn good job, but I don't.
She likes the State House,
right?
I feel like that's already paid for. Why would I spend more taxpayer money? That's my thing, right?
So the current goal is we have to raise $200,000. That's $50,000 to stabilize the building, and then $150 to hold it for the 4 years that it'll take to attract the funds and the developer to actually
for the operating to keep it going. There's still basketball actively happening in there. There's still events.
There is some, yes, and that's that's another hurdle. Is we want it to be available for those people. $50,000 a year.
It's a hell of a price tag.
Yeah,
$1,000 a week for a gym.
So it's going to take a lot of money and a lot of love.
Very good. Last story I wanted to get to, Zach. I'm going to tap you in on this one. Rough news came out this morning of a plane crash in North Carolina. How these stories go is that it was, hey, they figure out what plane crashed, and then they say, oh, it was owned by a certain person, and it turned out to be Greg Biffle, who was a retired NASCAR driver. Yeah. Very successful guy, but in the last year, he and some others had massive notoriety for flying helicopters and reaching folks in the North Carolina hurricane aftermath. Guy was flying in supplies, Starlink, just helping handing cell phones to people that were cut off from the world. He and I think 6 others, including basically his entire family, passed in that crash this morning.
Oh, that's really unfortunate.
That's right. It's rough period because it's a whole family just disappeared, and then it's like right before Christmas. So whatever extended family they have, somebody's got to go back to their house, and like there's a Christmas tree set up, there's gifts under the tree. It's like this is the worst time of year, and there's multiple angles. It looks
this hits so close to home. Like last week we had Presley Sora and the guys were here. They were going to PRI Thursday, Friday. Presley got a picture with Greg like that literally Thursday. So our guest Wednesday was with this guy Thursday. And now he's gone. So the motorsports world is very small and tight knit and stings a lot. So very, very sad. So yeah, he and a guy named professionally known as Cletus McFarland. Really, he's his actual name.
I don't know Cletus's real name. I know Cletus McFarland though.
I want to get it right. It's Andrew something.
Cletus owns a racetrack in Florida.
Yeah,
it's all kinds of fun.
His actual name is Garrett Mitchell. He actually made the announcement. So Garrett Mitchell was a YouTuber,
right?
And he became a NASCAR driver in the last year. Essentially, he was in the race with Brayton last year at Daytona, and Greg Biffle was his coach. So as a result of the hurricane, we'll tell the story. I guess they met up and they both had their own helicopters, flew a bunch of these hurricane relief things. Garrett Mitchell, Cletus McFarland, essentially became buddies with Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle then became his driver coach at Daytona last year. And then as Garrett continued to do a bunch of other stock car races this last summer and national ARCA races, he got a lot of notoriety for it. So sad day. Anyway, that's that side of it. Wanted to read it into the record. Had a lot of people ask, and it's a hell of a second act. It's very unfair and sad that happens. But everybody has their own career. When you go into retirement, you try to do something good for the world, and his humanitarian efforts were a really big deal. And some folks that are close to us in the show are right there in that North Carolina community. So let's move to final thoughts, Mr. Zach. Anything we need to get to? No. We got another show next week. We're doing Tuesday of next week for some sort of a pre-Christmas extravaganza.
Yeah, I need to think because I've last couple times the next day I'm like, yeah, I should have mentioned this or should mention that. But I don't have anything going on this weekend. I don't know if that much is going on this weekend. Stay dry. Don't get glazed over with ice tomorrow like everything else. And I'm a little bummed because we've had a snowpocalypse happen since the last show. But Christmas is going to be 40 some degrees or 50 degrees and raining.
And mud season.
Yeah, just mud season. And I'd much rather be snowy.
I know this is a little bit short night, but we are literally going to go from 55 degrees to 17 degrees. And
I believe the temperature is
so it's there are these flash freezes ahead.
I'm willing to sleep on your couch.
I'm nervous about it.
It was 52 when I got here. It's down to 46. And I think the temperature when I looked is just going to drop until tomorrow night. This is as warm as it's going to get until tomorrow night. So we got a little bit of time before everything freezes up. But yeah, it's one of those things where, and I think the ground's cold because it's been covered in snow until today.
There'll be some flash freezing on the road. It'll be exciting on the way home.
Yeah, those bridges and overpasses.
You can just hear the potholes popping as we all saw the news story.
The freeze thaw.
I saw the freeze thaw. Just hear those potholes popping because there was a story that came out where they surveyed, I forget what group of people, and that they said that Indiana roads are the worst roads in the United States.
The nation.
And I was like,
and we have the 5th highest gas tax.
Yeah. And I was like, from the Captain Obvious Institute because it was a couple years, like over the summer, they said, oh, look, we got voted best road something. It was a contrived, made up statistic.
Such a fallacy.
Yeah.
It was like whoever had that only polled like 3 people. Sorry, I'm sitting back in my seat.
Yeah.
They only polled like 3 people and they were like, no, my roads are great. But it's like everyone else in the world is like,
Carmel.
It's like my front wheel fell off on the way to work as everyone else.
Even Bones commented how much nicer the roads were Sunday, Monday, Tuesday because they were in Indy because they were just covered in snow and it fills the potholes in.
Right.
So the roads are
smooth
legit
travel.
better.
Well, slippery, but smooth travel.
So. I was with the NDOT Brain Trust this today for the day job. I will tell you that they're actively working on the road. You should probably look for some tolls to be coming in the next few years.
That's unfortunate,
on 65
too.
and 70.
Yeah.
You're as cars get more and more efficient, your
wheel tax is not paying the bill.
Your wheel tax doesn't cover it.
I'm not doing that. Do they know what I drive?
I just paid off my car this month.
I drive old stuff that burns gas like it's
something will go bad.
But the automatic indexing of the gas tax, I think, is set to expire in 2027. So beyond that, that's when those guys are starting to look at revenue shortfalls or concern. There is a safety thing. So we talked, I think, off the air about the speed cameras. You're going to start to see evidence of people in work sites, like truly knowing they're out there. There's going to be a flashing green indicator that folks are going to wear. So you're going to actively know you see a flashing green light that's on a person.
That's good, though.
So that's going to be maybe a little bit of a reminder for folks that, hey, there is actually a human being on the other side of those cones or that construction equipment or that barrier. So be careful out there. It's sometimes it's me. Sometimes I'm the guy on the bridge or walking alongside, trying not to get hit. All right. Thank you, Zach. Lauri, thanks for being out here.
Thank you for having me. I had a wonderful evening. I appreciate it.
All right. Is there anything we left out or forgot or need to get to?
No. Our convention is March. It's actually going to be in Fort Wayne. Again, if you're not a current member of the LPIN, you should go do that. And of course, as always, it's my job to ask for money. So go to lauriforliberty.com. There's a donate button right there. This work does not get done without individuals, and it takes every single person that I could talk to help me with this race.
So the last time there was a big libertarian convention up in Fort Wayne, I was there. It's no longer a hotel anymore. Where are y'all going to be this time?
It is the Grand Convention Center, I believe is what it's called.
Big downtown event.
Yeah, the Republicans are having their convention there too. So we thought about walking around on the street. Like, are you disappointed in your leadership? Come join us.
Come on in.
Like the prophets of politics or something.
The same place. Well, thank you for being here, Lauri.
Thank you.
Bash, if folks need to do some estate planning, where do they go?
So if you need to do some estate planning, call 529-2100, Hayes, Copenhagen, Crider, Harvey, or, look me up on Facebook, and we can hook you up. Wills, trust, deeds, adoptions, etc.
You got some music you're playing nowadays? Or is the Rose City organization on hiatus?
Man, we just did an acoustic show at Ink and Ale, kind of our last one for the year. We don't have anything on the calendar yet.
All right, so they're available for bookings.
Yes.
Maybe conventions, parties.
How do you feel about bourbon parties, bourbon tastings?
The more intoxicated you are, the better we sound.
I can sing. I got a karaoke machine as a white elephant gift. I can
there you go.
Contribute.
Well, maybe Lauri needs a Rose City salvage to come out and play the gig. We're matchmakers here.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the show this week. We will be back on Tuesday of next week. We'll do Christmas, and then I think we have Nate Lamar scheduled to join us on the 30th to wrap up the year. So all kinds of fun shows in December. We'll see you next week.